It's the Earful Tower here, and ho, ho, ho.
Excuse me?
Yes, it's the Earful Tower podcast. It's Christmas. It's Monday, which means Christmas Day in Sweden. You just heard the voice of Lovely Lina.
Hello?
Now, the reason that I've got Lovely Lina in the studio, or I say in the studio...
It's my studio,
Yeah,
actually. It's one studio.
...is because we're in Sweden. And in Sweden on Monday, the 24th, which is today's date.
Yes, which is the correct way to celebrate Christmas.
Well, that's right. You guys celebrate Christmas on the 24th.
Yes, the only way.
Where in Australia, America, France, it's celebrated on the 25th.
Seems like the rest of the world got it wrong.
Well, I think you still call the 25th Christmas Day, right?
Yes. But that's just like a day.
But you celebrate it on the 24th.
Yes.
But plot twist, this year you're celebrating on the 25th.
I know, we are. Wow, the world is turning.
That's just Lina's family. Anyway, this episode we figured is a little sort of Christmas special. I'm going to keep it kind of short, partly because, I'm sick.
Yeah, you got a croaky little voice.
We're in the studio where Lina makes her shoes. Regular listeners will know she's a shoe designer. So what we're going to talk about is a little bit of Christmas in France and Paris, things we've observed. But who are we? Who are we to talk about this kind of stuff? We're going to do a live cross to Fabien.
Yes.
Who's been on the show, and he's a real Frenchman.
He should know.
He's one of the Frenchest Frenchmen I've met.
Frenchman.
And regular listeners, and Patreon supporters will remember during the honeymoon trip, we visited him in Brittany, and he taught us how to make crepes.
Yeah, crepes and galettes. He's an expert galette maker.
So a lot of you guys already know what he looks like, but we're going to cross over to him in Brittany live, and we're going to ask him a little bit. He'll be the official word on how...
He is France. He's the voice of France.
But we'd talk, I thought before we cut over to Fabien, we'd talk a little bit about the things that we've noticed when it comes to Christmas in France, even though we're not there right now.
Yeah, and never have been on Christmas.
Never celebrate. That's the other thing.
So who are we? What kind of authority are we?
We're not. But the things that we've noticed that are sort of a big difference. Paris does, this year especially, Christmas lights.
Yes.
Very well.
And a lot of them.
A lot of people...
Not even on just main streets, but like smaller streets as well.
A lot of people were... So I did the...
And common neighborhoods. It's quite special.
Well, I did all these walk shows this year. So I did 20 walk shows in 20 days.
God, you were busy.
I was busy. But the benefit of that... Well, there were many benefits, but I saw how many streetlights there were around Paris. And I had the fortune of speaking to almost 20 different guests. And there was a common theme that everybody thought there were more Christmas lights than usual in Paris.
Oh, I wonder why.
I don't know.
Do you know why?
Well, some of us came to conclusions. Like I remember someone was talking about this year France, or Paris at least, did the Black Friday and the Cyber
Monday,
whatever it was. And it sort of was getting a bit commercial in Paris, more than usual. But you can't deny that the Christmas lights are fantastic. Especially in Montmartre, they had Village Montmartre.
I know, and on Rue Montaguet, they have this. It's really quite funny. So they mix this traditional, really nice Christmas light with a hashtag.
So they Montaguet.
had hashtag Montaguet.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of that. But
I don't know about that.
That was the second walk.
It's pretty fun. Keep with the times.
I like
Good
it.
on you, Paris.
Like although a funny side point is you know how the French people don't like using English words.
Yeah.
So they don't...
what is the French for hashtag?
Mot dièse.
No.
Yeah, they don't like the word hashtag. The Académie Française will lynch you if you use it. Anyway, Christmas. So there's a lot of Christmas lights in Paris. If you guys have been lucky enough to visit Paris in the Christmas period.
To cop an
eye. I should mention Lina's my wife.
Yes.
I figure some people might be listening to this for the first time.
It's very possible.
Lina, you guys have missed out if you're listening for the first time.
Yes.
People know Lina's voice from the honeymoon season where we together scooted around 4,000 kilometers.
Yeah, we braved France.
Yeah. You've been recognized since then on the streets of Paris.
I know, that was bizarre. I think I was mistaken for someone else.
They said, Lina, lovely Lina, where's your scooter? Isn't
yes, okay, fine. Yeah.
Anyway, Christmas. The other cool thing before we jump over to Fabien is the Christmas displays.
Mm-hmm.
In the
big department stores.
Yeah. Some of them are like really fantastic, actually.
Yeah,
which sort of become a temporary tourist attraction of their own.
Yes, it's kind of a must to go and visit the. It's almost like exhibitions.
Sure,
it's quite good.
Did you see any this year?
I did. When we whizzed past on the scooter, but I didn't actually go up to them. I had a proper look. Not this year.
So if you go to the ones up on the Galerie Lafayette and Printemps, the ones up sort of in the 8th arrondissement. They're always good, worth a look.
They're always quite like, they're really full on. They're very Willy Wonka, like fantastic, lots of movement and motion and toys and just crazy. Whereas the ones on the left bank, like Le Bon Marché, I feel like they're way more understated. It's more like quiet luxury and just like it's really it's quite interesting.
I walked past the one in the Bon Marché with Tom Clark doing the 7th arrondissement walk recently, and that one was good. Like you could kind of they'd done it in forms of like ballets and plays.
Exactly.
And stuff. For the.
It's a little bit more like. I don't know the word.
For the swankier left bankers.
Maybe that's what I'm searching for. I didn't say it. Your words, not mine.
So before we recorded, you said if I could quote you, you said, "All I know about Christmas in Paris is Home Alone." What the heck?
Damn you!
What did you mean by that?
Well, it's since I never spent Christmas in Paris or in France at all. That's my reference point. So I have like a shrieking Kevin's mom's voice in my head when I think of Christmas in Paris.
Because what happens is his parents...
They leave him. They always leave him.
They go to Paris and forget him.
And Macaulay Culkin, who is incidentally living in Paris.
I know. If any of you listeners know Macaulay Culkin, because he's one of my dream guests for this podcast. Because besides
he's the big fish in the pond.
Yeah, besides the fact that he's I'm sure he's a very interesting guy. I read in an interview somewhere that because he's so well known and recognizable, he doesn't like to walk around in Paris unless it's the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 o'clock. So every night, apparently, he goes out for long walks around Paris. I don't know where or exactly.
I love that. It's like a modern myth.
Well, right? But I'd love to talk to him about that.
You should do an investigative. Wow, that is a good rhyming word. Anyways.
What does it rhyme with?
Prescriptive. What? I don't know. I mean, like this Christmas present rhyming mindset.
Because in Sweden you do the rhymes on.
You don't do that?
I don't think other countries do that.
Really?
Yeah.
But you do it.
I do it to fit in with the Swedes.
Ah.
You mean on the gift tag when you're giving a gift, you do a little poem? I don't know.
You do a little rhyme, and you sort of rhyme on the theme of the present, so the receiver of the gift could almost guess, but hopefully not completely.
I think in Australia we just say, "Dear Lina, Merry
G'day,
Christmas."
mate.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
How you going? Okay, so Macaulay Culkin, dream guest.
Yes.
To talk to him, I want to know about how he walks, what he sees.
Yeah.
Because that's a different perspective on Paris.
But, good on him. So he finally made it to Paris. In the film, he never made it to Paris.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
good point. Maybe that's why he came there.
I think so. It was like a quest.
If you're listening, Macaulay, I'd love... He's got a podcast too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Colleague?
Yeah. Come on, colleague, get on the show.
Macaulay colleague.
Anyway, we've been blabbering on a fair bit.
Just a little bit, maybe.
But it is Christmas and there's a lot of joy in the air. And
and a lot of glug in the pots.
But I figured one thing I'd talk about before we cross to Fabian, for a bit of reason, the voice of reason, as you said, is we talk about something that we did the other day that was pretty fun. Is we were in the 1st arrondissement, down near the Ritz, and it happened to be the anniversary of our engagement.
I know. How perfect was that?
When we'd been there for the engagement as well.
Yes.
And we went, that's a beautiful Christmas area down by the Ritz.
Oh, it's so good.
The Place Vendôme with all the big Christmas trees and the Christmas lights and the Ritz and it's so beautiful.
Definitely worth a visit.
But we went to a different place. We went to the Hotel Coste.
Yeah.
Which is, if you guys have never heard of it...
Is it pronounced Cost or Costas?
Well,
I have no idea. I always say Cost.
I said it to a French guy afterwards, after we went to it. This is a cool story, actually. After we went to the Hotel Coste, I was telling a French guy about it, and I said Costas, and he said, in France, it's pronounced Coste.
Okay. All right, good.
And he was
another voice of reason.
Another podcaster as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you guys a cool story. Right after that, and this is totally off topic, but it's cool. I got a +1 invite to an event put on by My Little Paris and Coca-Cola. And it was a secret project. So imagine this. I got this invite. I didn't know anything. And I arrived at the Gare Saint-Lazare, a big train station in Paris. And when you arrive, they gave you like a hard hat. Like a...
Oh, yeah, like a protection...
Yeah. So you put on a hard hat. And the invite was purposely secretive. They're like, we're going to reveal a big project.
Okay.
And for me, it was absolutely secretive. I had no idea. So we went into the Gare Saint-Lazare, and up where they used to have all the offices for the train workers, they'd sort of tore it all down, so it was like the bare bones, like
Like a skeleton of a station.
Yeah. Not of a station, of offices.
Okay.
So all the walls were all ripped down, and they revealed that they were going to turn it in. So this is cool news for all you guys. By the spring, so in a couple of months, they're going to turn it into a street food, like one of the best street food sort of alleys, even though it's inside in the country.
Oh,
apparently.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So is it one floor up or
Yeah,
like
one floor
above
up.
the
So
station?
if you walk into the Gare Saint-Lazare,
Yeah.
or the Gare Saint-Lazare, if you don't understand the French pronunciation that I did, you go up a series of steps and you're there. But it's not ready yet. But when we were in there, the whole room had this big sort of white curtain around the center, and I didn't know what it was. And then they finished the speech and somebody clapped. It was very theatrical. And the big curtain, there was like an explosion.
Oh, wow.
And the curtain fell down, and there was this table set for 100 people. And they had one of the chefs from the street food had prepared like a really nice meal for everybody. All these people that were there, they were like actors and comedians and influencers and podcasters. And there's me,
you.
history and idiot at the end going, what's going on here? This is amazing.
You're like, oh, free Coke. Great.
Yeah, right. But that was really cool. That's one of the cool things that's coming with getting to know people around Paris. Is
Yeah,
to start
definitely.
getting invited to weird things like that. But
Amazing.
it was great. So you guys have heard it in English here first, I suppose. Gare Saint-Lazare,
Little teaser.
street food coming up. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Before that, we were at the Hotel Coste,
Yes.
which is
back to that.
really nice place for a cocktail.
It's so cool. They have like a sort of inner yard, inner courtyard.
inner courtyard.
That is obviously covered up in the wintertime, but it's just really awesome.
Yeah, it's a little pricey.
A little pricey.
You're not going to get a cheap beer there.
But excellent people watching, and
yeah.
it's
Like
the
supermodels
details
for
are
waiters.
amazing.
The men and the women are all like stunningly beautiful.
I kept taking the wrong people like to get my order because the staff, the waiters are dressed like in just normal clothes, really nice, and they're wearing handbags.
It reminded me of...
They're just wearing normal handbags, so you have no idea. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna guess, I suppose.
You kept stopping supermodels that were walking
Yeah.
in.
I'm like, Giselle.
Hey, get me a rum and coke, girl. You were like, garçon.
Lassie.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
That's really nice. A little expensive, but if
nice.
for a special occasion, definitely worth a visit. Hotel Coste in the first arrondissement. And then getting to the point, before we cut to Fabian finally, everyone at home going, finally. What we did, and you guys can go and watch this after you finish with the podcast episode, is we jumped on the scooter and we had the stabilizer and my camera, and we took a video of the Champs-Élysées Christmas lights from the back of the scooter.
Yes, so we drove from the corner of the Tuileries.
Yep.
Tuileries?
Yeah.
Up to Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah, so we went, and you'll see, I've got a video of it. I put it to Christmas music, and I sped it up because there are a lot of traffic lights. And the Champs-Élysées is actually really long.
Yeah.
Like, really long.
Oh, it's long.
So
that was a 10-minute... Originally, it was a 10-minute film,
10-minute
and
video.
my hand, I tell you this, it was frozen.
Yeah.
It was so frozen.
Yeah.
It was so cold.
even though you were wearing gloves.
Yes.
But what we did is we filmed, so you can imagine, the idea, I hope you guys like it, the idea is that you're on the back of the scooter with me and Lina riding all the way down the
Don't
Champs-Élysées.
feel like the third wheel.
No.
Don't.
And then we went some loops around the Arc de Triomphe right at the bottom. And it's just in the light, so all the way down the Champs-Élysées it's red. I don't know how they did it. They put red Christmas lights up around the trees, sort of.
Yeah.
And as you get toward the end, as you get maybe 3/4 of the way down the road, the avenue, there's two sets of trees, like it's double-lined trees, so the red gets even more
It's
intense.
really intense.
So it's really beautiful. I was confused going down. There's so many red lights.
Yeah,
from the
you
trees.
didn't really see which red lights to stop for or not.
I got a pretty relaxed attitude towards red lights in general.
Especially
no,
at
that's
Christmas
not true.
time.
That's not true. Anyway, that's about it for Christmas in Paris. That video is on YouTube and Facebook. Hopefully by the time you're listening to that, it's been uploaded. If not, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But
If you have any cool French like traditions, Christmas traditions that you know of, I'd love to hear.
yeah,
I really would, because I want to learn.
send them in to Lina
Send
at Parisian Postcards, because she wants to know. Me, I'm going to get my information from Fabian.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. I guess I just linger on and listen to him instead.
Yeah, so I'm going to cut over to him now. Anything you want me to ask him?
Ask him to say hi to his mom.
All right, I will do.
Yes.
And, well, here we go. Over to Fabian. Hey, Fabian, how are you?
Hi, Oliver. I'm good.
So I've just called. I know that you're busy with Brittany Christmas celebrations.
Yeah.
But I figured you could walk us through sort of a little bit of a French Christmas and how it works.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good, mate.
All right, so let's take it sort of from the beginning. Christmas is celebrated in France on the 25th.
It is celebrated on the 25th, but there is also a big dinner on Christmas Eve. Like in some families, it's mostly Christmas Eve. We do a big family dinner on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Day, it's more like you go and see some other families that you haven't been able to see on Christmas Eve. And you have a kind of a lunch with them. And the kids usually just spend the day playing with their toys. The main thing, usually, in most families, is 24 in the evening, Christmas Eve.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about the Christmas dinner, but first, like you wrap the presents on the 24th, and on the 25th, how do you go about opening it? Like in Australia, the kids typically open them in the morning, first thing in the morning.
Yeah, we do that in France as well. Typically, it's like when you have very young kids, you put them to bed on the 24th early, and they wake up on the 25th with their presents under the tree. So I think it's pretty much the same as you guys. When you get a bit older, you usually give the presents after the dinner on the 24th.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think the older you get, the more impatient you are to get your presents. So you just open them after dinner.
Yeah, right, okay. And what about, like, in some countries they put out, like, treats for Santa Claus? You know, like they put milk or something, or some people put alcohol.
Yeah, you do that as well in France.
What do you put?
You put milk or cookies. You usually have big socks. So you put that around the chimney, you put the socks, and it's very traditional. Nothing really special to other countries. I think we all do pretty much the same thing.
I was going to say that it sounds a bit like the American one, but then maybe the American one sounds a bit like the French one.
Possibly. I'm not sure which one has come first, but
one thing that me and Lina were talking about before is that the Christmas food seems to be very like German, like it comes out of the Christmas markets in Paris. It's really a lot of sausages and stuff like that. Is that the same thing that people can expect on a Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve with French people?
In terms of dinner, it's do you want me to go through what we eat?
Please, absolutely.
Okay. Usually, what we have for a starter, we have a lot of seafood, like crayfish. Is that crayfish? Yeah. We have salmon. A very French thing to eat on Christmas Eve is goose liver, which is foie gras, and we have lots of champagne, wine, and then the main course is traditionally turkey with chestnuts. In some areas of France, they can have a sort of chicken, which is called chaperon. I'm not sure why is it called that, but it's a sort of chicken.
How do you spell it?
Chapon, chaperon.
Chaperon.
And we have also like hunting meat, like a deer meat or things like that, which is very popular. So it's usually a lot of meat for Christmas Eve. And then we have the traditional, for the dessert, bûche, what we call bûche de Noël, which is a cake with cream, which is in the shape of a log.
Right.
You know, a fire log.
Yeah.
And I don't have the story behind that, but maybe your listeners can look it up and Google it. But this is what we have for dessert, and it's only around Christmas. You never have the dessert anywhere before or after Christmas.
Oh yeah, the Yule log, I think we call it in English. Wikipedia says it's a traditional dessert, also in Belgium, Switzerland, Quebec, and Lebanon. Sponge cake. So there you go.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, but my question was like, these are the traditional things, but were you just explaining like a traditional French dinner, or is that actually what people have? Is that the kind of stuff you guys have?
Yeah, I mean it's in most of France. I think this is what we eat. It's a lot of like I say, seafood for starters. Oyster, I forgot oyster.
Yeah.
It's very, it's something you will see on most tables on Christmas Eve. Foie gras, goose liver. Honestly, salmon, the oysters and liver goose, this is a must have on tables on Christmas Eve. So
Okay.
it's a very traditional to have this.
And lastly, do you have any, like, on the actual Christmas day, any kind of traditions, any singing, anything that's...
On my side, no. You know what we do on Christmas Day is recover from too much eating on Christmas Eve, and eat chocolate, watch TV, and we usually do games by the fire.
Right.
I think this is something that a lot of people do on Christmas Day.
Okay, and last question. Do you think, like, so you're in Brittany, you're out of Paris. Do you think a lot of the people that live in Paris also leave the capital to go out to their families and spend time in the smaller places?
Yeah, Paris during Christmas is like Paris in August. It's empty of Parisians. We all go to their families. So there is a big rush and traffic jam to get out of Paris just before Christmas. People go to their family outside. So Paris is empty during Christmas.
Well, it could be a great time to go as a tourist then.
Exactly.
Except if you're Kevin McAllister's family from Home Alone 1. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all from me, Fabian. I need to pass on. Lina said to say hello to your mum.
Okay. Well, I will pass on the message.
Okay. And one last thing is how you say Merry Christmas in French with the perfect French accent.
Joyeux Noël.
Joyeux Noël. Okay, got it. Joyeux Noël, Fabien.
Joyeux Noël, Oliver.
So there you have it. That was Fabian and Christmas. I feel like I learned something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's an interesting thing in Paris is that expats and foreigners like us, we often leave the city for Christmas.
Yeah.
People who haven't gone over to Paris, I mean, a lot of our friends have gone over for a French man or a French woman.
Yeah, and then it's easier. They have a reason to stay.
Yeah.
Whereas us, we have our families elsewhere.
Yeah, and it would be kind of, I mean, unless we invited all the family over. So there's kind of this big exodus of expats and foreigners at Christmas time from Paris, which means that kind of the mystery lives on what actually happens over there.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe,
well, now I do.
Maybe next year we'll spend Christmas in France. What do you think?
Yeah, let's invite Macaulay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If he's still listening. So that's it for 2018. Just a few words of summary. And Lina, you're very welcome to be involved in this, seeming you were
thank you.
Involved in so much of the podcast for 2018. But just a bit of summary to all you guys who have listened or who are joining for the first episode today. It's been a massive year for the Earful Tower podcast, which just 2 years ago was nothing but a gleam in the eyes of the postman. But in 2018, it's just been an amazing year, really. So much has happened. It sort of culminated with it being awarded the best podcast in Paris 2018 by Expatriates magazine. That is so exciting.
We still have to celebrate properly.
Yeah, we do. That's something we'll do when we get back to Paris.
Yes.
But also the idea of turning it from just a hobby, the podcast, just over 2018 really into a job by Patreon. I know I mentioned it a lot, but that's how this show exists. So you can thank the Patreon subscribers, because if they didn't do it, then I would have given up a long time ago. So I made a job, reached the minimum wage on patreon.com/the Earful Tower. This is my job now, which is exciting.
Woo-hoo!
I just created a job. But also all the people that I met. I think this is the 52nd episode of the year. With and Lina, you were in I think about 20 of those episodes on the honeymoon season.
Yeah, I'm a pod bomber. Can you say that?
Why not?
I don't know. It's a new expression.
But on top of that, there were I think 38 other guests came into the studio. We did 84 live videos on Facebook. There's just been so much exploration of Paris, and I've been so happy to share it with you listeners. So from me and perhaps from Lina, are you nodding?
From all of us
to
all of you. Let's say it in union.
No, I don't know the next bit.
Oh, a very merry Christmas.
Exactly right. Thank you so much, guys. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or however you want to celebrate it. Thank you 100% for supporting this program, even if it's just by listening, telling your friends, or if you are indeed one of the generous supporters. You've made a big difference, and it's been my pleasure to share Paris and France with you. And
much more to come. It's definitely still very unexplored.
Yeah, Paris?
Yes.
Oh, believe me, I can't wait. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the new year, and thank you, Lovely Lina, for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Lovely Oliver.
And usually when I have a guest at the end, I tell them where people can follow you. So at Parisian Postcards.
That's me.
That's where you can find Lina. She's done a bunch of Paris prints lately.
Yes, yes.
So she's also on the Paris scene doing interesting stuff. So give her a follow. You won't regret it. But from us, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.